Today, we're going to jump into a really powerful idea from Jeff Booth's book, The Price of Tomorrow. It's a way of looking at the world that kind of reframes all the chaos we're feeling into one single massive conflict.
Right, let's get into it. So Booth's whole point is that this feeling we all have, the anxiety, the division, the sense that things are kind of breaking down, it's not just random noise. Nope. He says it's the direct result of a huge clash between two totally opposite systems that are basically at war for our future.
And this isn't some battle happening out there somewhere. The most important thing to get is that we're all in it. Every single day, with our work, our energy, our attention, we're feeding one of these systems, whether we realize it or not.
Okay, so at the very core of this whole conflict, you've got two statements. Here's the kicker. They are both true, but they absolutely cannot exist together. They are fundamentally at war with each other. Now, this slide right here, this is the whole thing in a nutshell. On one hand, you have technology in competition. In a free market, their natural effect is to push prices down. Just think about your smartphone. It's a literal supercomputer that costs way less than a basic PC did just 20 years ago. That's deflation. But on the other side, you have our entire global financial system. It's built on credit. See, money is loaned into existence with interest. That means the total amount of debt in the system is always greater than the amount of money. And for those debts to ever be repaid, the economy has to expand and prices have to rise. The system needs inflation just to stay alive.
And when you try to hold those two ideas in your head at the same time, the prices should be falling, but our system demands that they rise. It creates this deep, nagging feeling that something is wrong. That's cognitive dissonance, and it's basically rippling through our entire society.
So let's break it down. Because our credit-based system would literally collapse if prices fell, it has to actively fight against the natural force of a free market. It has to constantly print more money and expand credit just to keep the lights on. And this leads to a pretty wild conclusion. We have never, not once, actually lived in a true global free market.
So now let's look at how technology is throwing gasoline on this fire, and what that actually means for us in the real world.
And we're not talking about some slow, steady change here. This is exponential. Jeff Booth has this great analogy. If you fold a piece of paper in half just 50 times, it would be thick enough to reach the sun. That's the kind of explosive progress we're seeing in things like AI, and it's pushing the cost of everything down, faster and faster.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The mind-blowing AI tools we see today, the stuff that feels like science fiction, well, get this. This is the worst, slowest, and dumbest it's ever going to be again. The pace is only going to accelerate from here.
And this brings us to the great paradox of our time. I mean, the whole point of technology, of productivity, is to save us time, to give us more for less. So why does everything feel more expensive? Why does it feel like we're all running faster and faster on a treadmill just to stay in the same place?
It's because the system of control has to suck up all those gains from technology just to survive. Instead of that abundance flowing out to everybody, like it did during a period in the late 1800s called the Great Deflation, all that value gets funneled to the center. And that shift pulls society away from a world of individual rights and free markets and drags it toward more centralization, more manipulation, and at the end of the day, more division and conflict.
All right, so if the current system is basically designed to fight against progress, what's the alternative? How do you build something that actually works with that powerful deflationary force instead of fighting against it?
Booth says the answer isn't some new app or company. It's a new protocol. You can think of it like the internet itself, right? HTTP. It's just a basic set of rules that nobody owns, but it lets the entire web get built on top of it. These protocols are open, they're decentralized, and they usually become winner-take-all because it just makes sense for everyone to build on the same foundation.
And he points to Bitcoin as this exact type of protocol, built up in layers. At the very bottom, you have energy. Its proof-of-work system creates this constant demand for the cheapest energy anywhere on Earth, which actually encourages more efficient energy production. On top of that, you have the core protocol, the asset itself, the thing that secures the whole network. Then you have transmission layers, like the Lightning Network, for super-fast transactions that cost next to nothing. And then finally, all kinds of applications can be built on top of all of that, just like apps are built on the internet today.
What this all adds up to is something brand new for humanity. It's a truly open, decentralized, secure, and permissionless system for value. It makes a real global free market possible for the first time, where anyone can send and receive value directly without needing a middleman, and without the hidden tax of inflation.
So with the emergence of this new kind of protocol, we're now faced with a choice. We can either keep playing the old game, or we can step into a totally new one.
The old system? Well, it's a zero-sum game. It's a closed loop. You need permission to get in, and for one person to win, somebody else usually has to lose. The new system? That's an infinite game. It's wide open. You don't need anyone's permission, and the potential is literally infinite because anyone, anywhere, can build on top of it and create new value for everybody else.
But making that mental shift is really, really hard. We're all shaped by the world we grew up in. Booth uses the BlackBerry as a perfect example. Remember, before the iPhone, we couldn't even imagine a phone without a physical keyboard. We thought we needed those little buttons. It wasn't until we actually held that new reality in our hands that our minds changed, almost overnight. The point is, we're often completely blind to the possibilities that are just outside our current way of thinking.
And that brings us to maybe the most important point of all. This whole transition. It's not going to be decided by politicians or bankers or some powerful, shadowy they. It's going to be decided by us.
This is such a critical idea to grasp. Every time we blame the politicians or the bankers for the system's problems, we're actually feeding that very system with our own energy and attention. We're participating in the thing we're trying to criticize. We can't honestly expect a system built on debt to choose a free market because doing so would mean its own end.
Booth even shares his own story here, and it's pretty powerful. He says he woke up one day and realized he was being a hypocrite. He understood the problem, but all of his businesses were still part of the old system. He was making money there just to move it into the new one. He realized he was strengthening the very machine he knew was broken. So he made a choice. He decided to move all of his time, all of his energy into building the alternative.
And that really leaves us with the final, unavoidable takeaway. This isn't some movie we're just watching. With every single hour we work, every dollar we earn, every idea we chase, we are casting a vote. We are all actively building one of these two futures. So the only question that really matters is, which one are you building?